Hello, my name is Rich Howard, owner of Architectural Builders Supply. This video is to bring you a closer look at the Reese. This is their part number 769 in a C finish is what this is. This is Door Jamb Weatherstripping. What is common about the 769 is its aluminum holder. Not anything really special about this aluminum holder at all. What does, however, make this a weather stripping that's worthy of discussion is the insert. Polyurethane. This material is exceptionally durable. When you're cutting through it just to trim the insert, you can tell that you're cutting something that doesn't succumb to the very sharp blade very easily. Polyurethane is known to be impervious to ultraviolet sunlight. It's not going to degrade like vinyl or anything else will. It's going to be impervious to the growth of bacteria, fungus, applications that are constantly wet. Food processing plants is where polyurethane comes to mind for me immediately. Swimming pool enclosures, something that's got to be really durable to the chemicals that might be in the environment as well. And polyurethane is great, and it's extremely abrasion resistant as well. Abrasion resistance and perimeter gasketing, maybe not so much, but door sweeps, absolutely. A door sweep is really phenomenal. We've done work for people who I know have a pitted concrete sill, and that sweep's going to drag across that. Polyurethane's the way to go. We've got back to the food processing. 5 years ago, there was a absolute top 5 name in foods that has a plant in North Carolina, and they needed a whole slew of automatic door bottoms, and polyurethane was the way to go. They literally need to disassemble the material to clean on a regular basis, and the material made the most sense. So let's take some quick dimensions, and then we'll talk about where you're going to use this beyond the advantage of polyurethane. The overall height's going to be about 1 3/8 inches. Closer, I'm sorry, I was saying 1 3/8 inches, I was thinking 1 1/8 inches. It's about 7/8 in terms of the height of the aluminum holder, as you can see. Its projection from the face of the jamb, it's not going to be much, maybe 3/4 inch in that range. Okay, then you've got 1/4 inch basically of the polyurethane insert itself, which is black. I believe black, I'm quite positive black is the only finish that you'll get polyurethane in, and Reese is a champion of polyurethane inserts. Let's talk about where you're going to use this. If you've not hit subscribe yet, we would very much appreciate if you did, and hopefully you're enjoying this video. Now, let's get back to it. So this is perimeter gasketing in the sense that you're going to use this at the header and at the jambs of a door typically. You can use it on 4 sides of a window, whatever you like. The fact that it's polyurethane is probably going to be a tip-off that it's used in a more extreme than average application where cost is not the driving factor, but performance is. So to install this material, let's just say you're using the typical 3070, and you'd probably want to order a 3-foot piece and a couple of 7-foot pieces. That makes really good sense. And most people are going to put that header up there, and then they're going to butt this, the jambs after they cut them down a little bit to the underside of that piece. I would go about it with a different approach. I'd order that header a couple inches longer, maybe a 40-inch piece. And even the 84-inch pieces, I'd probably order a little bit longer as well. And the reasoning is I'm going to want to have a mitered type of relationship in the inside corners where I'm literally going to compound miter this so that I can get the tightest, most absolute seal. When I butt another piece to the bottom of this, you can absolutely see where I'm going to be missing some areas that could be better sealed if I were to miter that material, actually miter that material. So that's pretty much what I would end up doing, is mitering it. However, you don't see that very often. It depends on who's doing the work. If it's your door, your opening, you can choose how you're going to cut it, and time is not the driving factor, or cost, then you'll probably end up mitering it. Otherwise, you'll probably just end up doing it the Quick weight is what it is. This is a 6-inch sample piece. If it was the real item, it would have a hole slotted here, and then standard center locations all the way down. It would include probably a 6 by 5/8 panhead sheet metal screw is what it would include. And those holes are slotted so that when you get the material installed, you can be sure to maintain a full self-closing and paramount self-latching condition. You don't want the insert to prevent the door from latching. Contact, not so much that it will become something that will prevent the door from coming to the completely latched position. And if you have a fire door, that is, of course, one of the 3 commandments of fire doors. Fire doors must be self-closing, they must be self-latching, and the other one that people don't think of is that must be free swinging as well. But as long as they close and latch, by all means of activation, and all means of activation means you could just have a spring hinge, and every time you open that door, it closes and latches. Well, that's a means of activation. You could also have a electromechanical holder on it that is connected to a fire alarm. So now you've got 2 means of activation. You've got that fire alarm that you've got 3 means of activation. You may have 3 means. You've got a fire panel if it's connected to it. You've got operating it locally. Maybe there's a local problem at the door that the door should close and latch that the fire alarm doesn't trigger. That could be a means of activation. And then just manually opening and closing it. You get the picture. By all means of activation. So let's switch now to the screen view and let's take a closer look at all of the supporting information. If you've not hit subscribe yet, we would very much appreciate if you did, and hopefully you're enjoying this video. Now, let's get back to it. Okay, here's the item that we are indeed looking at. Speaking of looking at, let's take a look at some photographs that we have here. Okay, there is a cross-section of the item. And let's take a look at some other photos showing the C, the clear anodized finish. It's not mill. It has an anodized finish, a glossy black polyurethane insert. Attempting to show what that looks like. It's a bit dark, obviously. And then the underside of the unit as well. Okay, now extended description information down below. Fire rated, smoke and draft control tested, would include standard screws, all aluminum weatherstrip, slotted holes. If it's for fire doors and you need a label on the material, let us know that, and it will accordingly come equipped. And you know, if you're doing fire doors, you want to be absolutely compliant with the requirements, meaning almost all components on a fire rated opening need to be labeled, not only listed. Obviously listed is required. Listed meaning it's been tested and approved, but most everything needs to be labeled, but not 100% of everything. Reese polyurethane weather strips are the best choice, especially in high abuse areas such as schools, correctional institutions, abrasive environments, extremely cold areas, high traffic areas. 5 times tear resistance, 40 times the tensile strength, 100 times the abrasion resistance of silicone. Flexible to a really low temperature. I like how it says it's unaffected by ultraviolet. It's unaffected. Resistant to fungus and petroleum-based solvents, unaffected by halon fire extinguisher. That's another important thing I didn't mention. Should there be a fire and you spray that halon material on everything, you're going to ruin a lot of parts. Not the polyurethane. There's a link below this video, as seen here, to the manufacturer's page within our site. And from here, you can pull up not only all of the Reese products we sell by means of this horizontal navigation, but also a link to the manufacturer's website, as well as a link to their full product catalog. I would like to jump into that catalog for a minute. I would like to show you all of the polyurethane items that they have. If you were to just search polyurethane in their site, there's about 3 dozen matches for it. Not only perimeter gasketing, door sweeps, the inserts and thresholds as well. Another thing I'd like to point out in this book is if you're looking for sound transmission control material, Reese has a comprehensive offering of the material. On page 7 of this catalog, they have a chart of what part numbers you would use, threshold, door bottom, what STC rating it will hit with their equipment. Okay. So if you need a reasonably high STC rating, a 46, let's say, you're going to use that 599, you're going to use that door bottom, etc. The 599, you can, let's just do the 521. You can click on, you can highlight that, copy it, and then do a find function and locate the 521. There it is. There's your automatic door bottom. 521, STC, draft control, fire rated. Positive, it's fire rated, UL and ULC, but it's also positive pressure, not only neutral pressure. That's the way in which a standard is set for a fire test. It depends on, it's based on where you are measuring, either at a plane, about the height of the lock, I believe, or up towards the top of the door. Great little catalog here, pretty comprehensive, and I'll tell you a couple more things about Reese. Let's wrap up this video on camera. If you've not hit subscribe yet, we would very much appreciate if you did, and hopefully you're enjoying this video. Now, let's get back to it. So Reese is a name synonymous with a smaller than common footprint of available products. And I only say that because their catalog's about a third of the size of others, or an eighth of the size of others, but they're quite comprehensive, in fact. It's unusual where I don't have a solution in the Reese catalog. If you're looking for a 14-inch wide saddle threshold, no, they don't have that. Can they make it? Yeah, they can. I've had Reese make me, I think, 18-inch, taking pieces and welding it all together. But it is a single extrusion. Not many people have that. In fact, I can only think of one that does. But when it comes to hardware-compatible gasketing, perimeter gasketing, door sweeps, door bottoms, automatic door bottoms, interlocking, weather stripping, thresholds of a variety of different types, half saddle, saddle, latch track, offset saddle, combinations of latch track, bump up, interlocking, they've got a really great option. They've also brought black finish into their product mixture of late. It is the probably since about 2015, I'd guess black has been somewhat common. It's 2022 now. But if you looked in the catalog 100 years ago, black was the common finish. So it's just come back into demand. In the 70s, it was your satin bronze finish, pretty common, maybe satin brass. Well, the 60s. The 70s got into an antique brass. The 80s were known by polished brass, merging into satin chrome. The early 90s, satin chrome gave way to satin nickel. All of a sudden, everyone wanted satin nickel, and I'm thinking, well, satin chrome is so close. And then that immediately flipped to oil rubbed in the late 90s, which then gave way to Venetian bronze, and that lasted, and then a period of manufacturers having their own finishes, back to the old days, 100 years ago, where you could have Sargent and Yale and Corbin, and their finish chart had very unusual names. Some name for a finish that you couldn't possibly know what it is. Colombian bronze? How is that different from Peruvian bronze? How is it different from Bolivian bronze? I don't know. And before about the very late 1920s, every manufacturer had that unique list, that proprietary list. And other manufacturers today still do that. Baldwin is an example of having finishes that's just particular to Baldwin. But back 100 years ago, if you're building a home or a building, you want to use locks from this company, hinges from this company, and then accessory hardware like window hardware from a third company. Your ability to get those finishes to match is slim to none. Unless it was unless it was black, dead black Japan or something like that. In the late 1920s, early 1930s, the United States government led an initiative for these manufacturers to come together and create a uniform list, which is known as the U.S. system of finishes. But black wasn't popular in those decades that I just mentioned. A long time ago, it was popular. The last thing I'll say about Reese is their turnaround time, their lead time is industry leading. These people are manufacturers. All the gasketing people are manufacturers. Nobody has the stuff just waiting for you to order that one $20 part. There's a lead time. Lead times take time. There's no profitability in producing $10 items and shipping it out immediately. Profitability is a function of lead time. However, when it comes to lead times, Reese is basically fastest in the entire pack. They do have a minimum order. Be sure you exceed that, but nonetheless, it's a company that you'll be thrilled with. Not only the lead time, but the quality of the product. And when I see their thresholds and I pick them up, I realize, why does that seem heavier? And I put my caliper on it, and it's because it's thicker. There's more to it. Anyway, any questions on the 769C or any other Reese product, please feel free to reach out to us. And thank you very much. Thank you for watching, and if you've enjoyed this video, please click thumbs up, please subscribe, and maybe even send the video to someone that you know. Thank you.